All right, now then, is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's the problem, Henry. If I can just look at you and talk to you, there's no problem.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
For a second.
The poem is not a metaphor for life. The poem is life. So in other words, if you're able to see the connection between the two, then life is the metaphor and the metaphor is life. So there's actually no split because it's actually one. So when you see all of this operating as one, then you're in tune with what's out there and with what's inside. So that's the poem most people are aware of, but they aren't as conscious of it as, say, some of the artists are, or especially the poets. So it's floating all around. Here are 3 examples of the poem in action. Adolph Matz is 84 years old. He's been a primitive painter all his life. And I figured that in time he would lose all his paintings, or they would get lost. So I told him that I would get Elaine Wing to make a selection, I would write the poem for it, and you can publish a brochure of his works. Well, he resented it at first because he figured it would be an expensive proposition. He finally went along with it. We made the selection, I wrote the poem, and he got it published, and he got a wonderful response from people in Gloucester. And he's also now showing these pictures here, a selection of them, at the international show at in Chicago. One day he calls me up and he says, "Vincent, you resurrected me." I went to a marathon reading of poets in the Church of the Covenant in Boston. And it was from 7 in the evening to 7 in the morning. And I told Jack Powers, who was running it, I would go on last. I went on last. I went there with Kate Boyle. And inside there were about a half a dozen poets there ready to leave the church. And I get up and I spoke. I spoke about my sense of self and what I was doing and what the poem meant to me. And I sang a sense of bringing together the essence of myself. After it was all over, I went downstairs in the basement with Jack Powers, and he says, "You're the first poet I've given $100 to who didn't read a poem." He missed it. Kevin Stevens had a show of paintings at the Rockport Art Association. He asked me, and Barbara asked me if I would write a poem for the occasion. Well, after a while, I decided that. And I did read the poem there. Among the people who were watching the pictures, and I had my eye on one particular picture which I liked. I came home and I was lying down and I was thinking about it, and I got a call from Kevin, and he said that we're at the Japanese restaurant, would you come and join us? I said, yeah, it'd be a pleasure to. So I went there. I said, I was lying down thinking about one particular nude which I liked very much. He says, yeah? He says, it's not sold. He says, if I don't sell it in 2 weeks, it's yours. I came home, I put the jinx in the picture. After a while, the exhibit was over. He says, I didn't sell the picture, it is yours. In the meantime, what happened is that George Buttock was putting together a story of my life and my work in the Dictionary of Literary Biography. And the poem that I'd written for him got placed in the story in the dictionary. See how all these things weave together? From that which is evanescent into something which is concrete and stays forever. And that destroys the separation between art and life. So if the poem in action it's in action anyway. All the poems are in action. All the people are in action. It's like, for instance, you see some guy down the street there, and you take a camera, instead of, say, a still camera, you put a movie camera on them, and you catch them as they are. When they see it, they're surprised, you see. So they're not aware that they're being photographed. In my case, I don't care whether I'm photographed or not. I'm still myself, see. So the basic problem here is that there is a schizophrenia between the mind and the body. We live in a dualistic world, night and day. And we make that separation. Male and female, we make that separation. Actually, there's no separation. It's all one, you see. Now, to be aware of that one is a difficult thing. So the simplest way you can become aware of that one and participate in that one is to think of yourself as a drop of the ocean and the whole ocean. Then you finally find yourself, Jesus, this is fantastic. Then you're the poem in action. I mean, imagine that drop of water in the ocean, and the ocean participating all the time without let up. That ocean is in action all the time. That's where the poem is. But people have been divided from the poem as action and the poem as on a piece of paper, and people read it and then they start to try to figure it out. See, that's all artificial. So it's a big enterprise to be able to be the drop in the ocean. See? It's a knack. So I'm a romantic, huh? Yes, I am. It's because I'm in love with the world and I'm in love with people. And there are two lines that capture the whole essence of it. I have the world and all its creatures. Dear to me is the idiom of their natures. So there's actually no separation anywhere. So since there's no separation, all I am aware of is a sensuous participation in the creative enterprise that life is and that love is in that life process. So to me it's ongoing, ceaselessly, and I'm aware of it. I'm rich. So is anybody, once you're aware of it. Okay, I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about love and hate. Love and hate is a combination that most people are affected by and almost are driven by. I love that which is beautiful, and I love the world for the way the world is. I participate in my sense of the beauty I see all around, and yet nature is so innocent in its expression of itself that I absorb it entirely all the time. But on the other side, there is anger in me against the way people do things to each other that is almost inhuman. We have wars. A war is necessary. I am angry at how our culture is foisted in such a manner that the younger people are driven to get what our society says, this is what you want. Get the goods, jewelry, cars, guns, power. Actually, the power is in love. So if you love yourself and you love the world, that's tremendous power. But our society is not concerned with that. We have a commercial society, buy and sell, buy and sell. And apparently that buy and sell increases the initiative to go out and get the money, and get it fast. That's part of our culture. Now what do we do about that? The only thing that I can see as an answer to that problem is to get to the kids when they're small in school, and you tell them, or you show them what the great minds, what the geniuses of the world have contributed, and then you put them in touch with that. Then they'll realize that, my God, the power is in the creation of beauty, and they can participate in that too. So then they're connected at their center, which is good for them, instead of going out to get goods that will fill up a hollowness in their body and in their soul. So in other words, if you're moving into yourself, the self is one, you're in the dance. There's no good, there's no evil. There's dance, there's pleasure, there's joy. Everything is holy, everything is beautiful. Once you're into that spot, everything is exciting. Now if the kids can get into that rhythm, they do when they get rock and roll, but then of course there's, it's a big problem.